Cinemajaw is brought to you by Field Notes Brand. Field Notes Brand, USA-made memo books and other products, including seasonal limited editions. Visit fieldnotesbrand.com or 400 North May, and we thank them for their support. You're listening to Cinemajaw, the greatest movies podcast ever, recorded in the Red Door studio at Cards Against Humanity. My name is Matt Kay, and with me is...
Rye, the movie guy. And sitting alongside us this week is Fill Me In Phil. Phil, our editor, also our engineer this week.
How's it going, Jawheads?
Is it Fill Me In, Phil?
Fill Me In Phil.
I like it.
Yeah, I like it also. This week on Cinemajaw, Matt, we pray to the god Zeus that we have a good podcast, and we name 3 very good mythological films.
I like this. I pray to Hades myself, you know? I like the dark stuff.
I could see you.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Praying on the dark side.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We are doing this. Why, Matt? Why are we doing this?
Because of Wonder Woman?
She's a demigod?
Is she a demigod? I thought she was just a goddess.
Ah, there you go. Well, that is the tie-in right there. That's why we're doing mythological movies. It's because of Wonder Woman.
It's a good reason.
It is.
Good as any.
Yeah, we also have a great guest who's going to be joining us very shortly.
Yes.
He is making his 3rd, maybe 4th, maybe 18th appearance. I don't know, but he is a friend of the show.
Yeah, we lost count. Very happy to have Professor O himself, John Otterbacher, back on the show. Filmmaker. He's got a new project called Moving Parts, and I'm excited, always excited to talk to John.
Yeah, he's a professor here at Tribeca Flashpoint, which is a film school here in Chicago. So We'll talk to him all about that good stuff, and I'm excited to hear about his movie Parts. It's going to be pretty cool.
It will be pretty cool.
Yeah. Besides that, Matt, we have a ton going on this show. I mean, this is, I always say it every week, it's jam-packed. I really mean it this week.
It's bursting at the seams.
So we got to get going with it. What do we got going on here, Phil?
Yeah, we're also going eye for an eye on Wonder Woman.
And we have 3 reviews this week. Pirates of the Caribbean 5, Dead Men Tell No Tales, Alien Covenant, and the movie club pick of the month, Fish Tank.
Wow. That is heavy duty. I can't wait to talk about Fish Tank.
Me neither. I'm really excited, actually.
Yeah, you look very excited over there. Plus, since John is going to be sitting here, and we have eye for an eye on Wonder Woman, and I believe we just actually locked in for the press screening next week, so we'll have a review next episode.
Nice humble brag.
I decided that we would play Wonder Woman movie trivia. Think of movies with Wonder or Woman in the title.
Okay.
That's the category.
I like it, man. You should write for Jeopardy. At this point, I think you're experienced enough.
This is 326 episodes. I've come up with trivia every single week.
Yeah, that's a long time.
Pretty nuts.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Plus, I don't know if you saw this or had the same exact feeling, I guess. Alien Covenant came out, and we are going to recap it. We're a little late on it, but we will recap that. And Ridley Scott thinks that there's actually going to be 2 or 3 more in the series. And I just... What do you mean, yeah? You actually say it like you're enthusiastic
I'm
about
enthusiastic about it. Hell yeah.
What are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
I just saw Covenant. There's nothing left. Put this thing to bed.
Dude, we see the same movie? Put this thing to bed. I can't wait to see what's next. It's just beginning. CinemaWAR.
Woo. John is going to have his hands full judging that CinemaWAR because I'm taking you down, Matt.
I don't think so.
Wow. All right. Hey, it is jam-packed, like I said.
Yes.
But before we bring in John, we got some Cinemajaw happenings.
Oh, yeah? What happened?
All right. This week, if you'll remember 2 episodes ago, I believe it was episode 324, we had Eric Childress on from the Chicago Film Critics.
Great guy.
Wonderful guy. He was out promoting the Chicago Film Critics Festival that took place at the Music Box. I just wanted to give the Jawheads a little background that I did make it out there. And
good for you, dude.
In classic Rye the Movie Guy fashion, I took my time. I didn't even tell them that I was going to come because I was traveling. Wasn't sure if I was going to make it. And I got out there on the closing night for the Chicago premiere of A Ghost Story with Casey Affleck, which I was so psyched to see. And I walk up to the Music Box Theater, and there's probably a line of about 200 people to get in.
Oh, no.
And I thought, oh, no, maybe I should have told them I was coming. You know, I just thought, hey.
Just walk up.
Yeah, Rye the Movie Guy's here. I know these guys.
Oh, yeah.
But no, they were totally awesome. Eric Childress, Brian Tallarico, saw all the guys, Capone, and got to see the movie. And afterwards, they even had a little soiree, if you will. It was sponsored by 312, so it was all you can drink free beer, and it was in that little lounge area of the music
Oh, you mean
box.
Goose Island?
Goose Island,
oh,
sorry.
Nice. Yeah.
Goose Island, and it's in that lounge area of the music box. And I go back there, I'm having some beers, and Matt, I swear to you, it was a who's who of past Cinemajaw guests.
Really?
We've had a lot of these people on through the years doing as many episodes as we have done. There was probably more people in the room that had been on Cinemajaw than hadn't been on Cinemajaw.
That's awesome. That's always a good feeling.
Yeah, so I ended up spending a lot of the time actually with Nelson Carvajal.
Oh, yeah. Video essayist.
Yeah, we've had him on, and I hadn't talked to him in years, and great catching up with him, and a blast. So thanks to everybody over at the Chicago Film Critics Festival. They had a great event, and looking forward to more festivals.
Well said.
There you go. All right. Without further ado, Matt, we mentioned, throw it in the jaw box now before we bring him on. Phil, how many times has John Otterbacher been on the show, and when was his first appearance?
What episode number?
Sound good? So without further ado, we bring in our guest. As we mentioned, he is a professor over at Tribeca Flashpoint right here in Chicago. He has a new movie he is a producer on entitled Moving Parts. John Otterbacher, welcome to Cinemajaw.
Always good to be here, guys. How's it going?
It's going really good, man. I'm excited about this new project. I mean, take it from the top, man. What's Moving Parts about?
Well, Moving Parts about a young woman who's trafficked from China to Trinidad and Tobago, and it's sort of an indentured servant situation, and things start to go downhill pretty quickly. And I don't want to give it away because it hasn't premiered yet, but it is. It's got a social justice component similar to like documentaries about human trafficking, but it's a narrative film. It was written and directed by a good friend of mine, Emily Upchuck. We went to school together in Vermont, and she's in Colorado. We're doing the post-production here. Just had a great rough cut screening.
And she actually spent some time. This is shot on location in Trinidad and Tobago, right?
Correct. She was the director of the film festival down there for the last 10 years. And she decided she wanted to move back up here and at the same time make this movie. So before she left Trinidad, she shot this film and has been in post-production ever since.
That is pretty cool.
It is. I know we had you on when you have a film under your belt entitled Riff Raff, which give a plug for that. It's a wonderful beach comedy that was actually shot here in Chicago. And from the time you start making films to the point where you're teaching at Tribeca Flashpoint, you get to know the community of filmmakers and working with different artists. And it's such a great networking town, I guess. Is that how you sort of come to all of a sudden, hey, I want to help, I want to produce this film, talking, how do you meet, all that kind of good stuff?
Well, this person happened to be a classmate of mine.
Oh, classmate?
Yeah, classmate. So I just finished my Master's of Fine Arts at the Vermont College of Fine Arts. And it was a really cool program because you have people coming from all over. It's a low residency thing. So I would go up there for about 10 days twice a year and, interact with people from all over the world, really. And this is my fourth feature film, and every one of the films I've done has been because of a relationship I had with a director. So almost always writer-directors, with one exception. And then as a producer, if I have a good relationship with people, that's really the only way I'll produce a feature film with them because it's just too much work to do it with somebody you don't like or that you're not close to. So,
there's no doubt about it. It's a ton of work, man.
It is a ton of work. I mean, you mentioned Riff Raff. Riff Raff from writing it, conception, to completion was about 5 years. So that was the first one. They got faster as I went along, as I learned a few tricks and got better and made less mistakes. But it's a huge investment. Emily started writing this over 2 years ago, and we're in post-production now. So this will probably be about 3 years from, writing it to it premiering.
Don't you just get antsy sometimes, like when you're working on something to get it out there?
We do, and there's every opportunity to put stuff out there now. The reality is, though, with an independent film like this, if it's just not going to play in a pretty good festival, it's going to have a hard life. So the movies that I'm making don't have large actors and actresses in them that people would know. Though you guys might know, are either of you Battlestar Galactica fans?
I'm not, but I want to get into it.
Okay, so one of the lead women in it is from the Battlestar Galactica series. Her name is Candace. She's fantastic. But yeah, anyways, for movies like ours, we really need to be patient, look for the right festival fit, get it out there, get a good sales agent, and then get into distribution. And it's just a long process, man. There's just no way around it. I mean, I've got a cut of the film. We still need to do color correction and sound, but theoretically we could crank it out and put it on Vimeo in a couple months, but that's just not the way to go.
That would be jumping the gun.
Absolutely. You know, and who knows, we might find an audience there. There's a lot of filmmakers out there who are either bypassing festivals or doing festivals at the same time, especially with a short film, and they're finding great audiences online. But there are certain projects like this where we just really feel like it's the best place to see it's going to be in a movie theater.
Yeah, it's funny. A lot of the festivals, I'm sure a lot of jawheads know this, but for those who don't, are very protective of the films they accept because they need to get the audience too. So they'll only take premieres and stuff that isn't online. So that's part of the strategy, and it's both sides playing the same card, so to speak.
Absolutely. I had a short film. I'll send you guys a link called Father Burke's Boss Battle. A lot of fun. It's about a Catholic priest who's addicted to video games. It's a short film. I made it with one of my coworkers, and we just had a blast making it. All students, alumni, and faculty worked on it. It was just kind of a side project. And you submit that to a bunch of film festivals, as you point out, Matt. And we got accepted to one, and we realized that when we got accepted to this one, it disqualified us from another one. So I actually had to reach out to the other film festival and say, hey, like, we like your festival a lot. We got accepted into another festival before it. You know, why don't you take a look, and maybe we'll go with your festival if you say yes, and we can bow out great. I mean, it's kind of a silly game of politics.
Right.
So
I mean, the bottom line is we want to get the product seen by a lot of people, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but yeah, there is that behind-the-scenes type stuff.
Yeah.
But the festivals do still provide a lot, like you're saying, for moving parts. It's still that first step for a small movie such as Moving Parts to grab an audience, to grab maybe somebody that's going to say, hey, I can put some money into this and distribute it. So
absolutely. And it's a very international movie. It's by far the most international movie I've made, where the cast is predominantly female of all different ethnic backgrounds. And there's a couple of different languages spoken in the film. So it's definitely, different than the other projects I've worked with, but that's more Emily's background. So we really want to get a good international sales agent because we think it has a life beyond the States, whereas Riff Raff pretty much limited to an English-speaking audience. And this is one where I think it's not limited in the same ways. It's not quite as much fun as Riff Raff, but that's not the kind of movie it is. It's a serious movie about a serious subject. So
yeah, for sure.
I'm curious about, well, I actually have two questions. First of all, I think a lot of people don't know what producers actually do. And a lot of times it can be honorary title, like executive producer especially. So what does a producer, what did you do? Give me an average day.
Well, first, I'd just like to say that at some point in my career, hopefully I'll be lucky enough to have the money or the clout to be an executive producer.
Right, yeah, me too.
Then you're up the chain.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, I'll be your producer. Here's a check. Or, yeah, put my name on it. My name is so valuable. Day to day, I really think of myself, there's lots of different kinds of producers, but on a daily basis, I feel like it's my responsibility to work with the director kind of hand in hand. What do you need? What's going on? What's the next step? Advise them along the way, and try and take some of the load off and protect them from some of the situations that might negatively impact the creative process. So if I can get in the way, or take some of the load off, or just be a sounding board. So it's really about trust for me, right? So I'm not going to work with a director that I don't like and care about. And directors really shouldn't work with producers that they don't trust. And I like to think that I have that relationship with the people that I work with. So it can be today, technically, I was sitting down, we were going through a sound mix. And I was working with the editor and the audio editor and the picture editor together. And we were going through the film looking for technical flaws. Before that, I was on a conference call with Emily and with our composer, Raphael. He's in Rhode Island. We spent an hour on the phone with him or on Skype with him. And then we spent another hour with the editor before I went into the post-production editing suite. So it's all over the place.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just Emily's got to bounce some ideas off to me. She just wants to talk about things before she talks to somebody else. So, yeah, it's really hard to define what a producer does, but we do a little bit of everything, and we're kind of in it for the long haul, from very early in the process till
Till it's done.
Till it's done. Yeah.
And then some.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, I know there's a lot of people that want to follow along. Maybe the movie, is there a website that they can sort of maybe back or follow for Moving Parts?
There is. They can follow along at movingpartsthemovie.com. They can also find Moving Parts on Facebook. So we're updating our Facebook page pretty consistently with pictures and updates on the film. We don't have our premiere locked in yet, but we should have the premiere locked in the next couple of months. So hopefully people will be following and excited about that.
Yeah, I agree. For listeners that want to sort of, track the progress of a small independent film as it rises up, and who knows where it's going to go. All the best for it. The other thing I wanted to bring up is I think the last time we had John, which it's been a while, when you were teaching at Flashpoint, it was only a 2-year program. And I believe, if I have this correct, and I don't follow all my academics in the city that closely.
You
but
don't,
I do,
Ryan? Why
but
not?
I do believe, I have heard that Flashpoint Tribeca now is a 4-year college here in Chicago.
Yeah. We are. It's Tribeca Flashpoint College now. And we are a 4-year institution offering both an associate's and a bachelor's degree. And it's a 2+2 program, so people can come in and do 2 years, and if they want to continue on, do another 2 years. And we're also accepting people from other institutions to come in and get their bachelor's. Let's say they've taken some classes already, or maybe they already have an associate's degree. So yeah, it's really been fun and exciting to build that, to help be a part of the process of going from 2 years to 4 years, adding new classes, thinking about different ways that we can challenge the students and better prepare them for the industry.
Awesome. I've
That is
only
awesome.
one time have walked through the doors of Tribeca Flashpoint. It was to see a movie, and I was walking in thinking to myself, boy, it'd be funny if I ran into John Otterbacher here. Run into him. The guy was projecting the movie and just for the small group of people that came. Like, God, it's John's everywhere. So it's awesome.
Yeah,
Good
that
work.
was an IFP event, I believe.
It was,
Yeah, Independent Spirit Awards.
Which you're
screening.
also part of IFP. That's a whole nother thing. We'll talk to that. We'll save that for after the break. IFP.
Definitely.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, I got some news about IFP and Cuff.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll definitely hit that on the second part of the interview.
I've been doing some video work on the side lately, and this is true, John. Every kid I meet, and I call them kids because they're young people, younger than me. Somehow your name comes up all the time. You're like, John Otterbacher? I'm like, yeah, he's my.
No,
They
we've
all
had
know
him on
you,
our
man.
show.
all the young filmmakers that you've affected, man, changing the industry, buddy.
That's good to hear.
It's
Hopefully
true.
they had
It's
nice
true.
things to say.
They did.
No, I feel like I've got a hand in the industry, and between the films I'm doing, the corporate work I'm doing, and teaching, I'm lucky to know a lot of good people and be a part of a great community. I mean, Chicago's film community is really, it's not huge, but it's big enough that we can do a lot of great things. Television's hot right now, as you guys know. A lot of students and alumni working on TV shows and movies. So yeah, I try and get out there and say hey to everybody, and whenever I have opportunities, try and get young people on those get them into those opportunities and get them making some money and getting some experience.
It's great too, because I think we needed it, especially the television, because a lot of these students from both your school and Columbia, and even DePaul has I believe a program.
Mm-hmm.
They were coming out in droves and moving to California or New York for so many years, and it's finally where they can actually graduate and have a job.
Go right to work.
Go right to work doing a television show right here in Chicago over at CineSpace or wherever. So I'm happy for them. So
Yeah.
Now, for the jawheads listening to this that want to follow John along, maybe on Twitter, Facebook, any of that good stuff, where to find out more about John Otterbacher?
Well, you can find me at Orange Chair TV. That's both on Instagram and Twitter. And then Orange Chair Productions or Officially Limited on Facebook. That's also on Twitter and Instagram. But Orange Chair TV is a good place to find me.
Do it.
I agree.
Do it.
All right, John is sitting in on this entire jaw. Here's the best part, too. He watched Fish Tank, our Movie of the Month Club as well. So he's going to partake in this lively discussion.
I'm
yeah.
really excited to get to it.
Yes,
Yeah.
so am I.
I don't know that we're all going to agree on this.
I
one.
don't think so either.
I don't think so.
I know we're not going to agree on this movie. It's going to be a fun one. That brings us to a segment called Eye for an Eye. Phil?
Yes. Eye for an Eye. Wonder Woman. Before she was Wonder Woman, she was Diana, Princess of the Amazons, trained warrior. When a pilot crashes and tells of conflict in the outside world, she leaves home to fight a war to end all wars, discovering her full powers and true destiny. The film stars Gal Gadot, Robin Wright, and Chris Pine. It's directed by Patty Jenkins, who is best known for directing the film that earned Charlize Theron an Oscar, 2003's Monster. We throw it over to Rye.
You know, Matt, I'm not super pumped usually when these comic book movies come out.
Super pumped?
Right.
Right.
Or
What's wrong
wonderfully
with-
pumped.
What's wrong with comic book movies?
I'm just not the biggest fan. I'm not bashing them all, right? But I would say, I circled this one. I was pumped for a Wonder Woman movie. I really was. And I honestly don't know much about Wonder Woman. I remember the television show vaguely. I don't even know it
It was
that
on
well.
in the 70s. You were very young.
Right. I've caught reruns when I was probably home from grade school type stuff. So I don't really know it that well. But I really loved the choice of using a female director here. I think it had to be done. If they were going to do Wonder Woman, it was a must. And then on top of that, they get this director, what was her name, Phil? Patty Jenkins, who did Monster. I like that choice, and at the same time, it makes me a little nervous because she hasn't done anything like big budget superhero, and that is a genre that is. We make fun of the Michael Bays of the world, but there's a talent to make those big blockbuster films. Little worried about that, but damn it, Matt, I'm interested. Matt?
Dude, listen, I am a huge fan of these comic book movies. There isn't a single one that I miss, and some are better than others, but this is Wonder Woman. I mean, it's pretty much the holy trinity, and I'm going to mention all DC characters, this Marvel fan, but the holy trinity of superheroes is Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. And finally, we get this is a movie that is way overdue. Interested.
John?
Yeah, you know, I have a 7-year-old daughter. I think it's really cool that she is going to have a character to get excited about in this comic book universe. And I'm also a Marvel guy. I'm an X-Men guy, you know, but I'm excited for Wonder Woman. It looks cool, looks slick, looks big. Hopefully it won't traumatize my 7-year-old.
Phil, are you making it a 4 for 4 here with Wonder Woman?
I am. I agree with everything that everyone already said. I think I already have a superhero that I look up to who's Moana, but I think that this will still be good.
She's great, too.
She's amazing.
But she's not wonderful, is she?
No, she is.
Okay. All right.
4 interesteds for Wonder Woman. As I said, we'll have a review next week. I fingers crossed. I'm hoping the best for DC, and it sort of, as we were talking, sort of pivots the whole little DC universe, whatever they're calling this, into the right direction.
Even if the larger DCU tanks, I hope this movie is good.
So do I. And it's funny, too. I don't cheer for movies all that often. I trying to review films. I usually go in trying to be objective.
Yeah.
But I can't help but be cheering for this movie. I don't know
think
why,
everyone
but
is.
I'm like, God, I hope this is good. I really do. So.
It's a very important, listen, for real, this is a comic book movie and this is a superhero movie, but this is also a really important movie. It's got a lot to say. This is a feminist moment here. If Wonder Woman sucks, it's going to really disappoint a lot of people. So it's important.
She's a badass in the comic books. I mean, Wonder Woman, she wasn't back in the day, but as the stories progress, she's really like, yeah, she's a badass. She's got a sword and a shield. You know, when we were growing up, I watched that show. It was the lassos
and
the cuff.
bracelets.
And that was cool, right? I mean, it was great. But now she's got a sword and a shield, and she's tough. I mean, she's really, really tough.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that this is executed that way.
Agreed.
Yeah, 4 interesteds for Wonder Woman. I'm pretty pumped, Matt. And let me tell you, Matt, it has been 14 years, can you imagine that, since the world met Jack Sparrow, Captain of the Black Pearl. Johnny Depp was honored with an Oscar nomination for his performance back then. Now, some 14 years later, he is back for a 5th time. Is there still some gunpowder in his cannon, or is this series as flat as a wooden plank? I hit the high seas to find out. Arr!
Pirates had infected the seas for generations. So I vowed to eliminate them all. And then there was this boy, Jack Sparrow.
As a dating man, I've been told honesty is the best quality. So truth be told here, Matt, I have not seen all the pirate films. I saw 1 and 2, completely skipped 3 and 4. I was given a quick Cliff Notes catch-up, if you will, by a fellow critic on what I missed. This time around, it is Will Turner's kid, Henry, who kickstarts the adventure. Determined to break the curse of his dad, played by Orlando Bloom, he seeks the trident of Poseidon, which will break all curses of the sea. He is convinced the only man that can help him is the great Jack Sparrow. Now, the first scene Jack Sparrow has is just quite ridiculous. He and his crew attempt to rob a bank, and it goes horribly wrong. I thought I was doomed at that point. But eventually, he intersects with Henry and also a young girl named Karina, who is an astronomer that can lead them to the treasure they seek. Of course, there always, Matt, is someone after Jack Sparrow, and this time around it is Captain Salazar, played by Javier Bardem. He plays a dead pirate still walking amongst the living. The main draw of these films are Johnny Depp and the big, fun action sequences. Depp's Jack Sparrow came across as tired this time. When you play a character as over the top like Depp does here, it is bound to happen by the 5th installment. However, I will give a thumbs up to the action sequences, especially the final one, which sees the ocean part creating an open valley. I also applaud the special effects team who gave Bardem a menacing look. His character died drowning, so he always looks like he's floating underwater. Pretty cool to see, especially in 3D. In the end, these movies are based on an amusement park ride, and it shows. They are big, loud, and fun, but there is not much meaning or heart at its core. It does try to connect emotionally, revealing a hidden family secret, but it was not effective at all, especially for me. I cannot recommend Pirates 5 Dead Men Tell No Secrets, but the good news is, Matt, I didn't hate it.
Well, that's the silver lining. That's the message here. I didn't hate it.
I didn't hate it. And you know, a movie like this, I could hate on. It was just good enough to get that, just a passing grade. You know what I mean?
Well, okay, so you didn't hate it, but did you have trouble with any scene in particular?
Yeah, I did have trouble. I mentioned the opening scene where they're robbing a bank. Oh, wow, was I rolling my eyes here. They actually go to tie these ropes around a big safe, and they pull this safe, which doesn't go through the back wall of the bank like they intended. Instead, it pulls the entire building of the bank.
They've just gotten to Bugs Bunny proportions at this point.
Down the street, and it literally is going down the street for a long period of time, and Jack is just on a horse. He's drunk. Ridiculous. It's such a dumb action sequence. I can't believe the studio or anybody thought, yeah, this is a great way to open up the film. Terrible.
All right. Well, the opposite question. Was there any scene you really liked?
Yes. At one point, the dead pirates, led by Bardem, unleash dead sharks because everything on their everything on their boat is dead, right? And the sharks actually look cool dead. They sort of got holes in them, and there's like a hammerhead shark, and they put them underwater to go chase after Johnny Depp. The end result of that scene isn't the best, but that opening moment when the sharks are swimming underwater, there's a little bit of a thrill there.
Zombie sharks.
I was just gonna say zombie sharks. I could get behind zombie sharks.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah. How about a movie poster quote?
Movie poster quote. You've seen the other 4, so why not make it 5? That's how I would sell it if I was the studio.
That's not bad. That's probably a good sell. Any influences?
Influences, as I mentioned, the big scene at the end actually sees the ocean part into 2. So I would throw the 10 Commandments parting sea, and also Master and Commander, which was a far superior film.
I think those are both far superior. What did you learn, Rye?
I learned, Matt, that Paul McCartney, even under heavy makeup and a pirate costume, is still Paul McCartney.
Okay.
Paul McCartney's in the movie?
He is in the movie, and he has more than 3 or 4 lines.
That's bizarre.
Yeah, it's a cameo, but it's a large cameo.
Johnny Depp surprised me in a movie the other day. I was watching, what's the Harry Potter movie? Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them.
Right.
Totally caught off guard. I did not realize
That shocked
he
me
was
also.
at the end.
Yep.
Yeah, blew me away. Didn't
Yeah.
even look like him, but it did look like him.
Right. Paul McCartney, you know it when he comes on.
Yeah.
Assigning grades to this, like I said, as much as I wanted to think I was going to hate this film, 2 Jaws. It's middle of the road. I think if you go out for family fun, enjoyable.
Okay.
So, 2 Jaws for Pirates. Matt, we are a little late on Alien Covenant.
Let's do it fast.
Let's do it quick. This is what I had here. Taking a cue from Rogue One, Ridley Scott gives us Alien Covenant, a film that fits between Prometheus and the original Alien. The plot of the film and the structure it follows is the weakest element of the film. I say that because we have seen this before in the series. A couple of times now, actually. The crew of the Covenant, which is a ship full of colonists, is heading for a new beginning on a planet. They've searched this planet out, Matt, and they're ready to go there. But then a radio signal coming from a previously undiscovered planet. So, hey, let's stop everything, change plans, and go check out this new mysterious planet. Because what could possibly go wrong? Here they make a discovery that ties the film back to Prometheus, and I did like that. And soon, well, you know, all hell breaks loose. Fassbender, we get double the dose here. Brilliant. He was probably the best thing of the movie. Catherine Waterston, who plays Captain Daniels, does not bring the, as you like to say, gravitas that Sigourney Weaver does, nor even Naomi Rapace from Prometheus. As for the horror aspect, let down. I wanted to be frightened and was not. I hold the Alien series in high regard and was a bit let down with Alien Covenant. How about you, Matt?
I loved it.
What?
Loved it.
Of course you did.
I thought it was awesome. It was first of all, Fassbender. Awesome.
That was great.
Yeah. The whole thing, man. I mean, listen, you made some good points that, yes, of course, it is kind of like a Star Trek episode setup. I'm not going to lie. But they do connect it back to Prometheus, and they successfully, and I think we're going to get into this a little bit more in the CinemaWAR, so I almost don't want to say some of the things I think about the series as a whole. But I think this was a successful entry. It's a lot of fun. I disagree with you about the horror. I thought that they made the Xenomorphs modern, even though this is a prequel. They kind of made them look more like Slender Man or some of the creepypasta stuff we have going on today in the internet. So they connected that, and successfully, in my opinion.
I didn't think that worked for me that much.
Oh, I liked it. I liked the gore. They didn't pull punches. This is Ridley Scott, okay? And he knows what he's doing. Couple that with some great actors, and I liked it a lot.
It seems like each installment of the series needs to have one big bursting moment, if you will. Okay, and there was
a couple.
Yeah, but there was none in this film that was rivaled the, I guess you would call it, the abortion scene in Prometheus, where she was inside that medical tank trying to get the alien out of her body. That worked on a level of I was so tense in the theater.
Right.
I loved it. Okay, this one did have some gore with some bursting moments, but nothing rivaled that moment in Prometheus.
Oh, I agree. I think that was one of the most epically genius horror moments of the last 20 years. And it finds itself within Prometheus, which in my opinion is largely a piece of crap movie. But that moment, yeah, that's tough to beat, man. Tough to beat. And you're right. But that's not, that kind of moment isn't in every movie. That's a once in every 2 decades kind of thing.
This is true. And one of my problems that I had with Prometheus, that I have described it as a love-hate relationship with that movie. I love the movie and love a lot of aspects of it, and then I hate some of the dumb silliness that goes on in the movie. And it happened again here with Alien Covenant. I can't stand the idea of a space crew being so careless.
So cavalier.
It's so dumb. It's like, come on. You're really going to kick over a plant on an alien world and something bad's going to happen. You're just going to think, oh, who cares about that? No one would. You know what I mean? And they're supposed to be an advanced along the way. What is this, 21 something the year, 2,100 and something. What are they doing? It's ridiculous.
I did not see this movie, but it always blows me away. It's like the characters in these movies, in their universe, do they not have scary movies? Have they not watched scary movies or alien movies before? Because the same thing happens in all of them.
I agree.
Right. Yeah.
And it's like, oh, come on, they're going to do this trope again. That was a bit ridiculous. So I was a bit let down. Now, believe it or not, Filmy and Phil actually saw this also. Where do you stand between me and Matt here? Who do you side with more a little bit?
Well, I stand more with Matt, but I'm still in the middle. I wouldn't say that I loved it, but I did think it was I did think it was good. I thought that the effects were good. Also, I didn't expect anything out of Danny McBride ever, other than being funny. And I thought that he surprised me.
Okay. There's also a twist at the end. I guess it's supposed to be a twist, but if you've watched more than 10 movies in your life, it's not much of a twist.
No.
It's very weak.
I agree with that. I think everybody's going to see this coming a mile away.
Yep. All right. Assign some Jaws here. I'm going 2.5 Jaws. Just better than the Pirates movie for me.
I'd say You're saying 2.5 is just better than Pirates? This is a 3-jaw movie, man. It's a good Alien entry. I liked it a lot. It's great director.
All right.
We'll talk more about this.
Yeah, for sure. Where do you sit? 3 jaws?
I would have said 3-2, yeah.
There you go. Okay. 3, 2.5.
Go see it.
All right. And if you have Twitter pulled up, you disagree with me or Matt, at CinemaJaw, let us know. We'll retweet it and get the discussion going.
So now's the time we're going to get into Fish Tank, right?
Yes, Fish Tank is our pick for the May movie of the month. Matt saw it.
Yes.
I saw it. John Otterbacher saw it. Matt,
Yes.
let's roll, buddy.
Somehow, the 2009 film Fish Tank flew under a lot of radars, but with terms like Cannes Jury Prize, BAFTA Award, breakout performance, and Michael Fassbender buzzing around this film, I thought it was high time to hit the internet and see what all the fuss is about.
You need sword, no, you do.
So you keep saying, but you're nothing to me, so why should I listen?
Fish Tank tells the story of a foul-mouthed, angry, impoverished, and isolated young teenage girl named Mia. Mia, who is played by Katie Jarvis in an award-winning performance, has one aspiration in life: to become a hip-hop dancer, as she believes this is her only ticket out of a life cleaning up after her drunk mom's parties and aimlessly wandering the city streets. One day, her party girl mom brings home Connor, played by Michael Fassbender, and Mia takes a liking to him. He also sees through her armor, and a relationship begins to develop. Lines are there to be crossed. The great Roger Ebert, Ryan, himself, reviewed this film 2 months, almost to the day before he passed away, and he gave it 4 stars. That, combined with all the awards and the stuff I've already mentioned, and I went into this film with very high expectations. And I am here to tell you, don't. I feel like Josh Baskin at the boardroom table here because I just don't get it. Director Andrea Arnold has also directed Red Road and American Honey, which, it should be noted, both also won the jury award at Cannes. So it's clear this is a good film with good performances, good actors by a good filmmaker, and I think it sucks. I don't think that the parts add up to equal a whole. I would argue that this film is objectively bad. The lighting, a subject which I have never commented on because even bad films usually get the lighting right enough, is piss poor. It looked like it's dark and dull, and it looks like it was lit by a 5-year-old with a Fisher-Price flashlight. The dialogue, what little there is a mumbling mess. I can't figure out what about these characters gives us anything to root for, as they are all vile jerks with little to no redeeming qualities. The story itself goes to the obvious places and nowhere else. As far as being a coming-of-age film, not really. That would imply that there was a change or growth. Something has occurred. It hasn't. This is a boring, bleak, and mean-spirited film that does not like its own subjects. So if you want to experience pain, then I recommend dropping a brick on your toe, because that would be more fun than watching this movie.
Wow. Matt,
Told you I was going to...
I can't believe what I just heard. I literally need to compose myself because I am literally shell-shocked. I've used the term ass bag before on the show, but I don't think I've ever meant it as much as I do right now.
What am I missing here, fellas?
This is all I wrote before we'll open this up to discussion. This is how I phrased it. I thought, oh, he'll love it, and we'll probably just
love what?
What are you talking about? This is a masterpiece, Matt. This is what I wrote down.
This is masturbation.
No, this is not. I wrote, Fish Tank, so happy that I finally got around to checking it out. I love this hidden gem. Those that listen every week to this show...
You wrote a review too?
Just a small little
Oh my
three-liner.
God, this
just
guy.
a three-liner, right? Because people who listen to the show should not be surprised, because Andrea Arnold also did American Honey, which was number 5 on my top 10 last year. She captures the grittiness and realism of a young girl growing up in England, poor, lacking a positive male role model in her life. That's the theme right here of the movie. She's played, as you did mention, masterfully by Katie Jarvis, spectacular, is longing for connection, and she finally feels it when Fassbender's Connor comes into her life as her mom's boyfriend. Much like my experience with American Honey, I was hypnotized by this movie, very drawn into the characters and their lives. The film is devastating, yet left me with a glimmer of hope with that last shot of the balloon floating away. This is filmmaking at its absolute best.
I'm so glad you mentioned that.
That shot!
First of all,
tear in my eye.
First of all,
I had a tear roll down my cheek when that balloon flew away.
Just shut up. First of all,
shut up. This is a masterpiece.
You are also hypnotized by the soundproofing foam on the walls.
I realize
that's a true story.
No, I realize now.
Cool.
Realize now that your take on this movie is why I'm so angry with you at all times.
Dude, the stupid balloon floating away. Really, that is such a cliche, trite, and BS. Oh, look, a balloon floating. Let's film that, guys.
This movie. That's Andrea Arnold at her absolute best.
Bullshit.
She caught this image, and it fit perfectly.
Sorry,
floating
John.
Away,
we're making poor.
So what does the balloon floating away mean, guys?
Well,
nothing.
Here, yes,
no, it means there was a balloon floating away and they filmed it.
No.
Okay, now Rye.
See?
All right. I'm going to play referee here.
Yes.
All right.
So the idea of that balloon floating away, we see it right after Mia is going away to this boarding school. And there's that hope that maybe she got out of this life.
She didn't go to the boarding
Am I
school.
right here, John?
She
Did you
ran
feel
off with
this?
her
She didn't go to the boarding school,
Okay,
did she?
but she went with the boyfriend. And
she escaped the fish tank.
Right. Escaped the fish tank. Escaped the world that she seemed doomed to be part of for the rest of her life. This balloon going away is that glimmer of hope. That's what I hope. I hope that she got out of this. You don't know it because this movie is so.
It's pretty dark.
So dark. You don't know that.
If anything, it represents her childhood floating away.
No, it does not. It
really? Because that's what's coming of age.
To me, it felt like maybe she's going to escape, just like the balloon was lifting off. That's what I got, John.
I'm in between you two guys on this one. In terms of the balloon, anyways, I agree with Rye. It's her escape. I also thought it was a little overdone for me personally. The film has got some really interesting aspects to it that I did appreciate. I actually liked the cinematography.
So did I.
I thought it was pretty raw. Reminds me a lot of Ken Loach's films. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the British director Ken Loach.
No.
He does a lot of coming-of-age films too. Real raw, real personal. You're right there with them in it. A lot of handheld. Shot it in 4:3, which I thought was an interesting choice instead of widescreen. So full aperture, 35 millimeter. Yeah, I thought the performances were great. For me, the hardest part of this movie was just the subject matter is so dark. I can't watch movies like this very often, It's kind of like the movie I'm making right now. I think you can watch, I personally can only watch a movie like this once every couple of months maybe because it was heavy. There's really heavy subject matter in here.
There's a scene particularly fraught at the end. I don't want to give anything away.
Sure.
Woof.
Yeah, there were two moments as a father that made me incredibly uncomfortable, and I think all four of us know what those moments were.
Sure.
And I don't want to give anything away either. But yeah, if you have a small child or daughter in particular, I found this movie to be. I have two little sisters as well. I found this movie to be kind of disturbing in that way. But I also thought it had some great, honest moments. One scene I can say without giving anything away in the movie, where the character Mia breaks into a house. I thought that scene blew me away. It just felt so real. It felt like I was there with a 15-year-old who shouldn't be doing what she's doing, and she's in there doing it. And then there's that switch where all of a sudden the scene changes, and that scene blew me away.
Right. And that actually right after that scene is, I think, probably the most tense moment for the film is when Mia actually, I don't want to say kidnaps, well, I guess technically kidnaps for a short period of time, a young daughter. And knowing that Mia
Spoiler alert.
It's okay because this movie came out a while ago, and that's what the movie club is all about. But,
we're all friends here.
Yeah,
sure.
but the idea is that moment where you realize that she had this somewhat quote-unquote master plan, but you realize that she doesn't know what she's doing.
Got no plan.
And all of a sudden that fear, that dread that something awful was going to happen to that little girl because Mia has no plan it was terrifying to me. I mean, my palms were sweating. I was so into this movie.
Yeah,
now all of a sudden listen to Matt.
That scene was particularly disturbing. But here's the thing.
It was disturbing.
And I guess it's effective because of that. But this movie it doesn't add up. Like, there's nothing said here. Mia
there's a ton said.
Really?
Yes.
I gotta agree with Ryan. I think this is a movie, and it's through the female gaze, right? So working with a female director recently, the Moving Parts was shot by a woman. It's very much of the female gaze. Andrea Arnold, I think, is wonderful. She's telling a story of a young woman, and I can't pretend to know what it's like to be in Mia's situation. Blue collar, lower blue collar, British neighborhood housing projects. All the kids want to like do hip hop dance, which that was the part of the movie I couldn't stand the most was the rap,
dancing,
the hip hop dancing. I don't know, it must be different in England, but that's not how we did it over here. The soundtrack was great though. I love the music, but I think she's communicating a story that I could never tell this story. I don't know I don't know this place. I don't know, what Mia's going through. And she's touching on really taboo subjects. Michael Fassbender was great. How he's charming and, childlike. He's just like Mia in some ways, even though he's twice her age. I mean, that was really pretty
well
unsettling stuff and well done.
And here's a couple of finer points on why I really, really loved Fish Tank. And I had mentioned that when we meet Mia, it's obvious that there's no male figure in her life. She does not have a father that we've ever met, and obviously no relationship with a boyfriend of any sort. And when we first see that she sees Michael Fassbender in the kitchen, and she's definitely right away intrigued, but not even so much sexually 100% right away. There's that need, I think, that Mia has just to have a positive male figure somewhere in her
Whatever,
life.
she's checking out his butt.
Okay, but hold on.
Well,
Literally, the camera lingers on his ass.
I know,
Well,
but it
she's
wasn't all that. She's
coming of age.
intrigued. It is. That is part of coming of age, but it's not just that. It's not just limited to sexuality here. And this next scene after that, after Fassbender leaves, she comes into the kitchen and she sees her mom singing. And her mom's all happy. And there's this sort of this wonderful moment where she's like sort of observing her mom in the kitchen singing. And what would go through a child who hasn't had a male figure around, and knowing that the mom had connected with this guy and left, and saw the elation that it gave the mom. The mom was in this happy mode where Maya is never happy in the movie. So how do I get that happiness? And sadly, she's getting the wrong message in a lot of ways.
Absolutely.
And that's what's so devastating about this movie.
Is it really about a male? I mean, I think there is a component about a male, a positive male role model or positive male figure in her life. But I think you really hit on it. Like, this is a bleak place. She's got no friends, right? She's fighting with the neighborhood girls. She doesn't get along with her sister. Her mom's a train wreck. And she sees happiness, I think. And he represents happiness. Like, oh, maybe sex is happiness. Maybe that will make me feel good. In this place where she doesn't feel good about anything. He's the only guy that actually pays attention and is encouraging to her. Like, oh, you want to dance? That's great. You'll do great at that. Here's my camera. Like, he's actually encouraging her and giving her some hope. And it's obviously tainted and it's not a healthy relationship.
Right.
But he is positive and encouraging in ways that she definitely is just, I mean, she's starving for, right, as a character.
I think he's at least attempting to keep it positive.
I think he's attempting to, but he's very, very immature and makes a terrible / illegal call, right?
No doubt.
I mean, it's hard to defend him. I agree, like he's like this likable guy, but it's hard to defend him when he so clearly crosses that line. And then later we find out what his actual situation is.
It becomes even more despicable.
Oh, yeah.
It
I
does.
mean, he's just like, yeah. I mean, when she does what she does in his living room, I was like with her. I was like, you go, girl.
Yeah.
Do
but,
it.
But before we get to that far along in the story, I think early on you see how important Connor is to Mia when Andrea Arnold, she does 2 slow motion shots in this entire movie, and they're both times when Connor picks up Mia. And the first time is when she falls asleep in her mother's bed, and Connor picks her up and carries her to the bedroom. It's in slow motion, and obviously Mia's awake, and you can tell her response to this is she just wants to be touched by, and I'm not saying this in a sexual way.
Loved.
She wants to be loved, and that feeling of someone cradling her and laying her down, she loved that moment. And the second time we see a slow motion shot is when she hurts her foot down at the lake, and she jumps on his back. It's also shot in slow motion, and it's again that love that someone is carrying her off, off to the back to the car. Those moments are huge to Mia. So it's lovely, and at the same time, like I said, because she's ultimately getting the wrong message, it's sad and awful.
Was there a moment that you guys? I mean, Matt, especially you're not a fan of the film.
No.
But were there any moments in there that you really did like that you thought were well done?
Yes. There are. So I thought there's a scene right in the beginning of the film where she's throwing pebbles at some mystery boy's window or girl. We never really find out who that character is. Somebody she's talking to on the phone, and the father comes to the balcony, and it's like very dialect, like lower class British, and it's like, oi, fuck off, that kind of stuff, and there's a brilliant exchange. Like, can you leave a message, and that part was great. And the little sister's there, and she's like, what are you doing? And she's like, what does it look like? And that part was good. And at that point, I'm like, oh, I'm in for a ride, because that's right at the beginning. And shortly thereafter, she gets into a fight, and I'm like, I see where this is going. And it just slows down to a grinding halt after that.
I loved it. My favorite scene in the movie is probably the saddest moment for me, too. And this is right before Mia is about to leave the household and hopefully get away. And she comes back into the house, and she sees the mom again, happy and singing. And now it's with a different boyfriend. It's on repeat. It's a new boyfriend. And
was it? I didn't pick up on that at all.
She mentions, did you like so-and-so? And it's a different name. It's not Connor.
Well, she's listening to...
talking about the music,
She's
dude.
listening to Mia's music.
Oh, okay. It's listening to Mia's music.
Yeah.
And what then transpires is the three, the mom, Mia, and Mia's little sister, begin to dance together. And Matt, call me a softie. I had tears in my eyes. I was like, oh, my God. The symbolism that you see these three women dancing, and are they going to do the same thing? Are you destined to do exactly in the environment and people around you grew up?
You are giving this scene way too much credit.
No, it was the best scene in the movie for me.
I was blown away. I was blown away also.
Why?
It was just so raw, so real. And it was like a whirlwind of emotions. I was sitting there thinking like, oh my God, this is so sad, because Mia's going to be her mom, and the little sister is going to be the mom. It's all going to happen.
Depressing as all hell.
It is, but it's real,
It's
and
real.
it happens.
Yeah.
It's on repeat sometimes.
Yeah,
I don't know.
They were those three in particular, the mom, Mia, and the younger sister, were so mean to each other. I mean, three, younger, two of them younger, but three young women living together, and they were just so mean to each other all the time, physically, verbally abusive. And there was this one moment where they were all just dancing together, and I was just like, and then she was like, well, fuck off then, and she left, and it was like, it just felt, it was beautiful. I don't know, that one moment was beautiful, and then it was,
then it was over.
But then it was real again. Hey, we had fun for a minute, but fuck you again. I hope I'm allowed to say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
All right.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that moment.
Yeah.
It was great.
Wonderful. Worst scene in the movie? Did you have trouble? Matt probably could have picked anything, it sounds like.
Okay, well, I mean, yes, pretty much anything, but the kidnapping in particular. And not because it was poorly done or anything. I found it was really difficult to watch. And maybe that doesn't mean it's bad. Like Requiem for a Dream is really difficult to watch, but it's a great movie.
It's a hard one.
It is.
I didn't have any like major flaws with any one particular scene. I'm really having a tough time picking one. I would say probably when Mia gets in the fight in the junkyard with there's a horse. And really quick on that horse, I love the symbolism of the horse was sort of this bright spot of Mia. She would go see this horse, and it was like exactly what it was as we were seeing it as viewers. There's a horse in a junkyard that these boys have chained up, and this is like this one beam of light, this one beam of hope that Mia has. She loves this horse. She's trying to set it free. Is that also saying that Mia wants to be free of this environment? And what happens when Connor leaves? We find out that Mia goes to visit the horse, and the horse is dead, and that correlation of the two, again, devastating.
Do you remember the line the young boy said? It was, she was 16. It was her time.
It was.
And Mia's 15.
I
about
know.
to turn
Caught
16.
that.
I thought that was great.
Yep.
I have to hated parts of the movie. The dancing, the dance sequences were just so goofy and it was really hard for me to take serious as like a fan of hip hop and watching like people break dancing and dancing in the 80s, 90s, and 2000s. I just thought, man, they must do it so differently over there because
and she's amateur, right?
Yeah, but it was just she was watching videos online, and I don't know. It just did not play well to me. That was the one part of the film where I thought, I don't think Andrea Arnold really gets hip hop dancing. I could be wrong, but I thought that was the one thing she didn't really totally
understand. It didn't seem authentic at all. But I did appreciate the fact that Mia actually goes to this audition, and it's clearly for a stripper, but it shows you how naive Mia is, and
she picks up on it.
She does, but it takes her all the way to the audition to pick up on it.
I like that she got up on there. She didn't do anything, and she just walked out.
Love that moment
because she did. That was there was, and I think that shows some growth, right? And she's also got this like semi-healthy relationship with this young man, and they're gonna go on a trip. Like she maybe needs to get out of this fish tank, right? Like going to the school or staying with her mom. These things are clearly not gonna help her. Mm-hmm. Maybe she just needs to start. And the fact that she's starting to be cognizant of that and start to try and build a healthy relationship with someone her age, I thought was a positive move. I had some hope for Mia at the end, I guess is what I'm saying. So hopefully Mia made it. I don't know. I was rooting for her.
Well, maybe like that balloon, John. She floats away.
How about movie influences, Matt?
Other than Stephen King's It, let's see, Repo Man. I think it's equally. Really, you're laughing at me. Come on, it's equally bleak and about isolation and a go nowhere, and it is to punk rock what this film is to hip hop dance. And 8 Mile is another one I would kind of.
8 Mile's pretty good.
That is really good. Well done, Matt. I went with An Education, which is also sort of the young girl who's naive, and I don't know why Half Nelson with Ryan Gosling.
Ryan Gosling, the crack movie?
Yeah. Something about that where he just couldn't get out of his own mistakes or something, I don't know. Something about that.
For me, I'm probably going to get the name of the movie wrong, but I saw a Ken Loach film, who's this British director I like. He also does a lot of coming-of-age movies. I think he did a movie called 17, and this reminded me of that. Same subject matter, except it was a boy out of control. I also thought this movie was kind of reminiscent of some Harmony Korine stuff. Not necessarily kids, which was much more of an ensemble, but equally dark, but Gummo a little bit.
I can totally see that, yeah.
Or Spring Breakers even. I mean, Spring Breakers stylistically...
Bite your tongue.
Stylistically totally different, but it's about a young woman who's, or young women who are looking to like get out of where they feel trapped, and different, but I feel like there's some similarities there. Anyways,
this is like if Spring Breakers is Superman, this is Bizarro Spring Breakers. It's like the negative version.
Matt, did you learn anything?
I learned how to sit still for 2 hours while absolutely hating a film.
Jeez, I can't believe, Matt.
I wanted to turn it off. I struggled to watch the whole thing.
Send your hate email. We will read it on the podcast.
I
You're
get it.
So in the wrong.
No,
here,
everybody louds this film. It's like critically acclaimed and everybody loves it.
It's wonderful.
I found it boring, bleak, and just a really tough watch.
What did I learn? Thank you for asking me, Matt.
What'd you learn, Ryan?
It was the idea of just how much we are a product of our environment and the people we surround ourselves with. As much as we think we're all so, individual, we're doing this all by ourselves. We are such a product of where we come from and the people we surround ourselves with, and that's such a huge part of our lives.
All right. So what about a movie poster
Wait,
quote?
what about John?
Oh, I'm sorry, John. Yeah. What'd you learn?
What'd you learn, John?
What did I learn? Well, I learned, I think it reinforced that there are a lot of people in the world that are much luckier than a lot of other people in the world, because she had it pretty rough. And I learned, or the idea was reinforced to me, that European filmmakers are much more willing to tackle issues around sexuality than I think American filmmakers are, and I applaud that. It was a very difficult movie to watch, but I think American filmmakers, besides maybe Harmony Korine, a few others, they're gonna shy away from this subject matter because it's so politically incorrect, but they're going to make movies where people are, blowing each other up nonstop.
Yeah, and if they're going to make a movie about sexuality, it's just going to be about sexuality. It can't have that element like Fish Tank did. It wasn't fully on all about sexuality. It was just perfectly exactly how it's presented in day-to-day life. So loved it. Good call there. Finally, movie poster quote.
All right, here's my movie poster quote. For some reason, people like this film. I think it's shit.
What an absolute jackass.
What's yours, Ryan?
I went with real, beautiful, sad. Fish Tank is a masterpiece.
Got one, John?
I do not have a. I'd just call it Fish Tank. I would just leave it alone. I think get some beautiful imagery and no quotes up there at all.
Nice.
I would just have a shot maybe of that balloon floating away.
I could see like the alternative movie poster for this, right? It'd have the buildings, there'd be a horse in the distance with the trailer, there'd be a balloon over here. There'd be a lot of like little moments from the film that you don't really get till you see it. So it probably wouldn't be a great movie poster in terms of getting people there, but people that like the poster would like it after the fact. You guys know I'm a poster nut, so.
Absolutely.
The poster for this movie actually sucks too.
Oh, I loved it.
Well, we got to make a better one.
Matt's
man.
more on the wrong here. Let's assign some grades here. This is on a 4-jaw scale. Matthew?
One jaw.
John?
Yeah. Ooh. I'm going to go 3.5. I don't go 4 very often. 3.5. It was a really well done movie. 3.5.
I'm throwing the 4 jaws out there. I loved it. I love this Andrea Arnold, right? As I said, I love American Honey, and I want to recommend American Honey to so many people, but it is 3 hours long. And
I haven't even seen it yet. Now I got to go see it.
And I know
it's on my list.
I know people have a tough time with a 3-hour-long movie that is not, Lord of the Rings, where it's a big action movie. And so this I could really recommend and say this is Andrea Arnold in a nutshell, because they've got a lot of the same themes. So
Lord of the Rings could have been 2 hours.
yeah,
just saying.
Wow. All right. That was good. That was a movie of the month.
I
right
feel
there.
better. That was catharsis.
Oh, God.
I like it better when we disagree.
I do too.
It's more
I feel
interesting.
good.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. If you saw Fish Tank, if you agree with Matt, if you agree with John, if you agree with Rye the Movie Guy, email us, feedback@cinemajaw.com. We will read your reactions on the next podcast. Well, Matt, there were no mythological people in Fish Tank.
No.
But I guess the horse, maybe.
Yeah, there's like a unicorn, kind of.
Possibly,
Yeah.
right? But that is our topic this week. We're doing 3 because of Wonder Woman.
I like it.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, let's hop in here.
Jump in, Matt. What do you got sitting at number 3?
At number 3, 300.
Oh,
Really? Dude, come on.
I'm so sick of people talking about 300. That movie stinks.
I'm sick of talking about Fish Tank. 300 was a good movie. I mean, we had never seen anything like this. It raised the bar. It was a damn good action flick. Frank Miller. It was a faithful adaptation of the comics, and it was a movie a lot of people thought could never be filmed. So,
yeah, I'm not gonna bash on Zack Snyder right now because he's going through some personal tragedies stuff. I thought 300 was really innovative and really cool. Not that good a movie, but really cool. It was eye candy. Like I could sit down and watch 300. And the first couple of times I did, I was like, wow, that's really cool. And then I was like, it's all style, no substance.
Yep.
But it's got a lot of style.
Got a lot of style.
A lot of style. I can get behind that.
Yeah, I guess the style, all right. But it's one of those movies I remember I was just starting to review films, and I remember some guy was like, oh, I absolutely love 300. It's better than Braveheart. I'm like, whoa, calm down here. There's nothing at the core.
I didn't say that.
I know. There's nothing at the core of 300. All it is eye candy, guys. Slow it down here for a second. So ever since then, I don't know. I've always had like a grudge match against 300.
I disagree. I think there's a little bit there, but man, the eye candy is worth it.
All right, that was Matt's number 3. We swing it over to John. John, your number 3 mythological film. And I have to admit, my list stinks. I hate these kind of movies.
Mine, yeah.
Well, I've got a pretty good one here.
Wow.
Oh,
all right.
think.
Save us, John.
I cheated a little bit. I did some searches on the interweb beforehand. And I thought, you know what? That is a mythological movie. I'm going to roll with Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
Nice pick. I was hoping this would come up.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to go wrong with the Coen brothers. They've had a few missteps, but for the most part, they're pretty strong. And this is a particularly interesting adaptation of
The Odyssey.
Odyssey,
Yeah.
thank you.
Homer,
Yes.
yeah.
And it's I froze for a second there. I couldn't remember. But yeah, it's just so much fun. I mean, who doesn't like Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
Love it.
Yeah, that's all I got to say.
Nice pick at number 3. Swings it over to mine, and I don't know. I might even get some flack for this one, Matt. I don't think I've ever mentioned this movie on Cinemajaw. It came out in 1994. I don't even know if it's mythological, but it popped up in research, and I thought, boy, I never talked about this one. I'm going with the Kurt Russell masterpiece, Stargate.
Well, I thought you were going to say Captain Ron.
Stargate?
Yeah, Stargate.
Oh, because it's Egyptian mythology.
Right. He travels to another planet, meets this god Ra. That
So
ends
science
up,
fiction counts here, is what you're saying.
in this particular case,
I mean, it's all mythology. You could probably even make a case for Star Wars. It's the Campbell, like hero with 1,000 faces.
but in this case, it's
modern mythology.
it's
Sure.
it's this idea that this Egyptian god or this alien type Ra came down to Egypt and helped with the pyramids and all around that time. I don't know. I mean, I remember the movie, for me anyways, why it's so memorable is this is right when DVD technology came out, and I watched this movie on the old VHS, the old tape on one of these tube TVs with one speaker to the right. Remember those TVs? They just have one speaker on the right side of the tube.
Yeah.
And I watched
Mono.
Stargate, and I hated it. I thought, garbage. And I went walking into my local Best Buy, and they had this new technology out. It was called DVD video.
DVD?
Yeah, DVD
What is
video.
this DVD
Yeah.
you speak
So
of?
I
Some sort
walked-
of digital video disc?
I walked over, and I guess it had surround sound, and this was the movie they were playing, and it was when Kurt Russell was going through the gate. And I remember I stood there, and I thought, I was more entertained because of the surround sound and the presentation than the full 2 hours of sitting in my bedroom watching this on this junk TV. And I was sold on getting DVD, and I probably had it a couple weeks later.
That's a great story, Ryan.
That's my Stargate story.
All right.
That's my number 3.
Nice. That swings it to number 2s. And in all honesty, I had Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? But I figured somebody might have it, so I have a sub Beowulf. Why did you even think about it?
Well, I
Right,
wasn't
the movie
sure.
guy was thinking
Is
about
that-
whether
is
or
that-
not he
was
was
it-
going to ring the
Is
bell.
that the cartoon?
Yes.
Man, to
No.
call Beowulf a
I like the
cartoon.
Dated, technology's already surpassed. No.
I like this film,
Couldn't even
John.
sit
I
through
like
it.
this film.
No.
This was Robert Zemeckis.
Couldn't read the
I was
poem
a big
either,
fan.
though, so.
I was a fan.
Can't say I've ever read the poem,
I
to
own
be
the
honest.
movie. I'm a big fan of this one.
You didn't like it, John?
I honestly couldn't sit through it. I watched a little bit. I was like, eh.
I get it. It might be divisive because of the presentation and the animation.
The digital animation for me was just not cutting it. That style didn't work for me. I'm old school, but
That's
just
fair.
me.
That's fair.
Okay.
But I like me some Beowulf.
Well, John, what do you got at number 2? Something better than Beowulf?
Well, I think so. I mean, it was a toss-up between this being number 2 or number 1, but I'm gonna go with old school Ray Harryhausen animation, Clash of the Titans. I mean, come on.
We're going to cross over a lot.
everybody's, yeah.
Everybody loves Clash
Yes,
of the Titans.
no
Come
doubt.
on. I mean, I grew up with this film. Who's the lead actor in it?
Throw it in the jaw box.
Yeah, who's the lead actor? He was on a TV show at the same time, and he's got that chin. It's kind of ridiculous, but man, I love.
Yeah, he was in L.A. Law, wasn't he?
Was it L.A.
I
Law?
think so.
Something like that. But I mean, from the Pegasus to the Medusa to the
best.
I mean,
All the high points.
yeah, it just hit them all. I mean, it was just fantastic.
The
I love Clash of-
Kraken.
The
Release the
oh,
Kraken.
The Kraken at the end, right? There were
Yeah.
some gods in there. Poseidon was definitely involved. Zeus. Oh, it's good stuff.
Yeah.
Love it.
Athena.
I might go home and watch it tonight. I don't know. I haven't seen it in a while, but
I love that pick. Swings it over to my number 2, and I can't believe this movie has made a top 3 list of mine on Cinemajaw. But 2004, Eric Bana, Brad Pitt, Orlando Bloom made the movie Troy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Has it come to this?
Has it come to this? Now, can I say I was the biggest fan? No, but does it fit this list? And was I struggling for picks here? Yes, it's evident. Huge spectacle, though, Troy was. I'm not going to say it's the greatest movie of all time, but I remember thoroughly enjoying the battle scenes, Brad Pitt's take on Achilles. And I loved at that time, it was just when we were getting into Lord of the Rings had sort of opened up the way of doing computer-generated armies that looked extremely real. And this was like the follow-up, like, oh, look what we can do with armies. And all of a sudden they put them out on the sea with all these boats and tons of men fighting. And it worked for me to a degree. Troy, my number 2.
All right, that brings us to our number ones, and obviously I also had Clash of the Titans. But if I had to someone out, because I think we've said what needs to be said. Once you really say Ray Harryhausen, that's really all you need to say. I would throw in, and Phil's gonna love this pick, the Disney animated classic underrated Hercules.
I've never seen it.
It's good. See, that's the thing. It's underrated. I don't know why it sort of flew under the radars, and Disney certainly had more famous films like Aladdin and whatnot, Lion King. This one doesn't get that kind of love, but I think maybe it should. It's definitely worth another look. It's got a really interesting and unique style to it.
That was not the Disney movie I thought you were going to say for Mythology.
Which one did you think I was going to say?
I thought you were going to go Aladdin.
I could go Aladdin, and Aladdin's a great one, absolutely. But I don't think that Hercules gets enough praise, and it deserves some.
Fair enough.
All right, John, what do you got sitting at number one?
Yeah, what's better than Clash of the Titans?
There's so many different directions to go here. I'm gonna go even older school Harryhausen. I'm gonna go Jason and the Argonauts. It's an oldie but goodie, and it's just, I don't know, again, for me, this is all about reminiscing of childhood. This was the stuff I was into. I liked Jason. I liked Perseus. I liked these characters. I read a lot of mythology growing up.
And the skeleton scene
is pretty damn cool when they pop up and they're fighting them in real life. I mean, yeah, we didn't have a lot of that stuff back then, so it was cool.
I haven't seen that since I was a kid. I don't even really recall it as much as I remember some of the images, but I'm much more familiar with Clash of the Titans.
Yeah, and I think Clash of the Titans is more refined, and I'm sure if I sat down and watched Jason and the Argonauts again, I don't know if it would hold up as well as I remember it, so I'm probably not going to watch it until I sit down with my kid and watch it. But yeah, I have some really fond memories, and I wanted to go a little deeper into the crates, you know.
There you go. Swings it over to my number one. I also had Clash of the Titans, so
You got a sub?
Yeah, the only sub I had here was Oh God with John Denver and George Burns.
Wow, you are really reaching. Are you serious?
What?
I had nothing else. All I had was Clash of the Titans.
What is Oh God?
You've never seen that? They actually made a sequel, Oh God, You Devil.
God, You Devil. Oh, yes.
Yeah, that was just, a joke as we were throwing it in there. I really had no honorables. Mighty
what about
Aphrodite,
Sinbad?
No, Mighty Aphrodite by
Sinbad.
Woody Allen is based off of a mythological story. I forget which one.
I think he's done that a couple times.
Yeah, I would say Mighty Aphrodite. It's a great Woody Allen. I like it anyways. So.
Nobody threw in any British stuff after all the fun we had with Fish Tank. There was no Robin Hoods involved, no King Arthurs, nothing.
I know.
I heard the latest one is not so hot.
Well, you know what happened is just to because of King Arthur that just came out, we did our top movie nights. So I was like, well, I can't go anything King Arthur, so I was trying to stay away
we just
from
talked
that.
about all that.
Just did it. Yeah, you're spent on that. I get
exactly.
it.
So, all right. Hey, that's fine. It was a fun little
We
list
stuck to
put
our
together.
Greek and Roman for the most part.
I agree. If we missed your favorite mythological movie and you have Twitter pulled up, shoot us a tweet at CinemaJaw. We will retweet it and get the discussion going. What we're going to do is take a quick break, get a beverage, and when we come back, Matt is taking John on in Wonder Woman movie trivia, plus a CinemaWAR looking at the Alien franchise. We'll be right back on CinemaJaw.
Imagine the perfect video store. It would have a great selection, right? Right. Over 10,000 videos. 3 evening rentals, so no rush, no hassle. Fast checkout. 24-hour quick drop return. Open late every night. Well, the perfect video store
Welcome to Blockbuster Video.
is popping up all over the country. There's one near you.
Blockbuster Video. Wow, what a difference.
And we are back on CinemaJaw, hanging out with John Otterbacher, professor over at Flashpoint Tribeca, and also a producer on a new movie that he is working on that we will keep updates through CinemaJaw called Moving Parts.
Yep.
And if you can find Riff Raff, and I'll start right there, John. Can people find Riff Raff online?
You know, you can find Riff Raff online. I think it might be available on Amazon or like Best Buy's service. You know, iTunes wanted us to closed caption it, and it just wasn't worth the money. But it was on iTunes until recently. And if somebody really wants it, all they got to do is hit me up at Orange Chair TV. I'll find them a copy. I got a few laying around. And, if you were ever a lifeguard, people always love that movie.
They sure do. Yeah. The best way to say it is it's Caddyshack for lifeguards.
Or Clerks.
Yeah, it's wonderful. We had a great time with it. Now we mentioned
Thanks, guys.
obviously that like we said, you're a professor, you're producing, but there's also IFP Chicago that you are involved in. What is your official title over there?
You know, my
Have you just
title-
taken over everything here in Chicago?
No. I'm so busy with the film projects I've got. I've had to step back from a few things at IFP Chicago. I'm a huge fan of IFP Chicago, and I am a member of the board of directors. So I'm a board member of IFP Chicago. And last night we just had a kickoff for the Chicago Underground Film Festival, which is IFP Chicago's kind of largest program they do. So Chicago Underground Film Festival, it starts May 31st and runs through the weekend. It's going to be at the Logan Theater. Some great movies there. A lot of IFP Chicago filmmakers and members will be there. And I think a lot of just the film scene. You talked about the film scene and community. A lot of people are going to be hanging out at the Logan Theater. I know Ray Pride, fellow movie critic, he'll be doing some movie talks or some critic talks, I think, in the bar over there, and it's just a good time. Some really good parties. There's one movie in particular, Drifting Towards the Crescent. I'm really excited about this documentary. Really,
I like the title.
Sweet. That sounds good.
Yeah, it's real, like kind of like Fish Tank. Sorry, Matt.
Oh, man.
No, but it's Americana. It's like this. It's this look at this small town and this kind of changing and dying way of life in America, and that's all I'm gonna say about it. But I haven't seen the movie, but the footage I've seen from it looks great. And one of my past students, Carrie Graham, shot part of it. So I'm really excited to see that film on opening night for Cuff.
Yeah, and when are the dates for the Chicago Underground Film Festival?
It kicks off May 31st on Wednesday, and it's going to run all the way through the weekend, through June 2nd, 3rd, something like that. Yeah.
Perfect.
Wednesday through Sunday at the Logan.
And we may even be there.
Absolutely.
Oh, you guys are going to be there, aren't you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You're going to do a podcast there, right?
On a Wednesday night, I believe, right?
We are sitting down with Nicole.
Awesome. Nicole Bernardi-Reese is fantastic. She's really, the leader of IFP Chicago. She's making a lot of things happen. She's a great filmmaker herself, and also just really a huge supporter of all the independent filmmakers in Chicago. So I'm sure you guys are going to have a great talk. Yeah. And, Chicago Underground Film Festival is not just about the movies. There's going to be some art installations, and there's some excellent parties. Cuff always has great parties. Pretty much every night of Cuff, there's a party.
We love parties here on Cinemajaw, don't
Yes,
we, Matt?
we do.
This is what we specialize in.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Film and parties.
Yeah, in fact, it was at a party that I talked to Nicole about coming on Cinemajaw, and that was the Spirit Awards party over at Rocket.
Yeah.
Which
that was a good
IFP
party.
Puts together every year, and me and John had a few cocktails together.
A few.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Cup to a tree.
Couple to a tree.
Yeah, we always have good times. So awesome. Hopefully we'll see you out there, and we'll report back to the Jawheads.
This is great. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. Matt, before we get to trivia, before we get to CinemaWAR, we threw a few items into the jaw box. No Elias, but we got Filmy and Phil.
What's your pleasure, Mr. Cotton?
The box.
What's in the box?
Yes, thank you guys so much. So there are two things in here. This first one's kind of tricky. It was how many times has John been on the show? And he has been a guest 3 times.
This would be his 4th, right?
4th time as guest, 5th time on the show, though.
Ooh, tricky. Controversy.
Yeah, because episode 129, when we were live at Gallery F, he had made a very small appearance. He wasn't the guest that week, but he was there.
I remember that. That was another party. We were drinking over at Gallery F. I remember that distinctly.
That was I think that was a fundraiser for the documentary that I'm still working on, officially limited. Yeah.
Yes,
That's
it is.
filmmaking for you.
Yeah, there's a
Yes,
short
it was.
version of it available, but we're still working on the feature and the interactive website, so I'll keep you guys informed on that.
Please, yeah. I'm actually really interested in that one for sure.
Yeah.
What was the episode number of John's first appearance?
His first one is different. That one was 65.
Wow. That is going back some time.
Do you have a date on it?
March 22nd of 2011.
Whoa.
Phil, how old were you in 2011?
I was a junior in high school.
Oh, my God.
Wow. Makes me feel old.
Yeah.
And I remember when we were doing like about number 65, like we got this thing under control. Now I look back like, oh, I'd hate to even listen to that episode.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back and listen to that.
I might too, actually. I'm kind of curious.
What else we throw in the jaw box?
The only other one we have in here is who was the guy from Clash of the Titans. And his name was Harry Hamlin. And I think, Ryan, you had said it. It was L.A. Law.
He was the
Ryan or John?
heartthrob.
It was me,
yeah.
yeah.
It was Ryan, and he
Yeah.
was the heartthrob on L.A. Law, which was like the hot procedural of the time. That was probably before the term procedural existed, right?
Yeah, I think it was, yeah.
I remember my parents watched it. That's why I remember L.A. Law. You know, I was a little kid, like, who? What the? They were making such a big deal about L.A. Law. Like,
That was a big show at
It
the
was.
It was huge, yeah. It was pre-ER, I think.
yeah, I
Oh,
agree.
yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
definitely.
Yeah.
So, hey, did we even mention why Phil is filling in? And
We should. I know Elias did mention last time he was in the jaw box last week that his film, a film I helped produce.
yeah, should
Think
be noted.
Twice.
Should be noted.
Should be noted.
You should get credit for that.
I should. And I
Producers,
do.
producers
Yes.
deserve credit, I think.
And I do.
As a producer.
Elias always does
Yeah.
give me credit.
But he's not in France, even
No,
though he
I'm
was
not
in
in
Europe like
France.
2 weeks ago.
Were you an
Yes.
executive producer, Ryan?
Not executive, no, just producer. But Elias is over at the Cannes Film Festival. Now, his film didn't play in, and we don't want to make it sound like all of a sudden he's going to win the Palme.
Palme d'Or?
Yeah, he's not going to win the Palme.
Well, you guys should get him a Palme
That
d'Or.
would be
A
pretty
Palme
good.
de Jaw.
But
It's
if
a great idea.
if you're listening to this, check out even just our Instagram because we're retweeting some of Elias's pictures from France, and he's smoozing with people. In fact, he met the girl from Indiana Jones, Muriel, the actress who played, is that her name in Indiana Jones?
Which
the first
Indiana
one?
Jones?
The very first one, where he goes to the bar and she owns the bar.
Oh, yeah.
Muriel, I think.
I
believe.
That doesn't sound right to me, but yeah, the girl.
That's the
from first
character's
Indiana
name,
Jones.
or
Is it?
close to it. It might be
Yeah.
Marion, but
Marion. Maybe it's Marion. But anyways, he met the
can't believe I
actress.
don't know, but I don't know.
Come on, Matt.
I know, right? I should know my pop culture better.
Yeah, I'm a little embarrassed for you.
Yeah. Fortune and glory, kid. Fortune and glory.
But maybe she's even going to come on CinemaJaw now. We'll see.
That would be so cool.
Oh,
Yeah.
that would be
So
cool.
he's smoozing, and then he's going to travel a little bit into Europe and so forth. So.
Good for him,
Yeah.
man. I keep bumping into him at different film festivals. I bumped into him in Michigan in the fall at a film festival, and he's just been touring that film everywhere. Good for
Dude,
him.
yeah.
You know what's great is he loves to network, and it is so smart. I mean, he has literally made so many connections. Filmmakers everywhere there got the same goal as Elias, and that's to get their product out there, get their voice heard.
He's got to step up his game and do a feature. I'm
We're
calling you.
pushing him.
I'm calling you out, Elias.
We're
It's time
pushing
to
him.
do a feature, man.
Yeah, for sure. So that is why Phil is here this week. I think next week and maybe even the week after. It's a long vacation that Elias is touring around.
Good for him. He
So.
deserves it.
Yeah. Well, when you get a chance to go to Cannes, hey, make a week of it
Yep, exactly.
or a couple.
Or a month.
Yeah. So feedback has been rolling in a lot of times in association with the weekly riddle. And then also we have this Patreon program. If you listen to CinemaJaw and you want to support CinemaJaw, there is a way you can do it.
Yeah, it's simple, guys. Go to patreon.com/CinemaJaw or just Google CinemaJaw Patreon. It's just like a fundraising, crowdfunding platform like Kickstarter, only instead of one project that ends, it's like ongoing. You're a patron of the arts, and we do thank each and every one of our patrons. And we just got a new one, Ryan. Longtime fan of the show. He writes in every so often. We love him. Paul Chung, thank you for joining us on Patreon. Appreciate it. And also, we just sent out some rewards. So check it out. You can get some cool stuff like T-shirts and flasks and that warm, fuzzy feeling inside for supporting the arts.
Yeah, Paul Chung has been listening to CinemaJaw for
years.
I mean, it's funny. We get a message from him almost every New Year's. He writes us, and it makes us feel good to know that Paul's still listening and enjoys the show so much. And thank you, Paul.
Thanks.
From all of us over here
That's
at
awesome.
CinemaJaw. So.
Really cool.
It is, yeah. It's
Yeah.
rewarding. In more ways than one.
Yes. Was that everything in the jaw box?
That was all that was there. I did look it up, and it is Miriam with an M.
Miriam. Okay, I knew it was a weird name. That's all I remembered.
It's definitely unusual.
That was off the cuff, All right, get back in that jaw box.
She was a little abrasive. I don't know.
Yeah, I think in a good way.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull notwithstanding, the original Indiana Jones is a masterpiece.
Pretty strong.
There
Yeah.
you go. Matt, it brings us to a segment called
CinemaWAR.
CinemaWAR works like this. Me and Matt, we're fighting on a topic. Our guest, John Otterbacher, is playing judge and jury and telling the listeners at home who he thinks won the CinemaWAR. It's important because we're fighting for jaw time to rant and rave on whatever we want. The Alien series is the debate. Phil, tell the jawheads at home what today's CinemaWAR topic is.
Yes, today's CinemaWAR topic. The Alien franchise is slated for another 2 to 3 films, according to director Ridley Scott. Do these films have more to say, or should this series be put to bed? Matt, you'll be fighting for yes, it has more to say, keep it going. Rye, you'll be fighting for the Alien has said it all, put it to bed. Let this CinemaWAR begin.
Matt, the Alien series was something special when it debuted in 1979. A horror film set in space. We curled up in our seats, waiting for the next time the alien was going to burst out of something and give us a scare. Times have changed. We have seen terrifying creatures on screen, and it's not so terrifying to see the alien more. The magic of this series is gone.
Ryan, Ridley Scott is one of the great storytellers working today. When you couple his name with the word alien, I get fanboy jollies like you wouldn't believe, and I'm not alone. Far from a cheap cash grab, the Alien films actually do have something to say about the human condition, colonization, corporate control, and fear. Scott has wiped the slate clean of the Alien vs. Predator trash and gotten the story back on track.
You want to talk about names? I'll give you names. Listen to these names and listen how the slope went for the Alien series. Sigourney Weaver, Winona Ryder, Naomi Rapace, Catherine Waterston. Like the leading ladies, this series and the story has slowly slipped from gripping to, we've seen this before.
I don't know. I disagree with that wholeheartedly. In space, Ryan, no one can hear how bad you suck. The best thing about the Alien series has been its versatility. It can be horror, sci-fi, action, or suspense, and often all of those in the same film. It has provided us with one of the greatest heroes in Ellen Ripley, and now, with David, one of the greatest villains. I want to see how those two intersect.
Prometheus moved the series in a slightly different direction. And what did Ridley Scott do with the follow-up? Repeat the same themes as the original film. Boring. And frankly, seeing the alien in his CGI form these days is not at all as scary as it was when it was a puppet back in 1979.
I think it was a man in a rubber suit. Speaking of the alien, Ryan, the xenomorphs, the engineers, Wayland Enterprises, I want to know where all this is headed. Unlike superhero films, which can stand alone, the Alien films have woven a tapestry of connective tissue. While there may have been some better and some worse entries, the world building and the characterizations have been amazing, coupled with an impeccable design sense and art direction, and I would argue that the Alien franchise is actually one of the best film series going.
Jeez. Matt, the Alien series jumped the shark when it decided to have the Predator over for dinner and try to make a spin-off series of it. Now it comes rearing its ugly head back in 2017 and gives us the same story we saw 36 years ago. Put this series to bed, man, and come up with a new tale in space. The possibilities are endless here, damn it.
No, there are weighty and lofty ideas in the Alien franchise that are worth discussing. Meeting your maker, man's next evolution, artificial intelligence. This is deep stuff. Plus, you get a bloodthirsty alien with acid for blood. These are great films that Sir Ridley Scott is back at the helm of, and I think we're in for a treat. I hope we do get 3 films instead of just 2.
You, sir, are an idiot. We are button heads here on CinemaWAR, as we do each and every week. We throw to our guest, our jury, John Otterbacher. What did you think of this CinemaWAR? And do you need another beer?
I don't need another beer.
He's pandering. That's pandering.
Pandering.
Thank you, though. I like pandering. Yeah, you make a really good argument, Ryan. You make a great argument, in fact. But I'm gonna go with Matt here.
Yes.
I can't win anymore.
Wow.
It's Aliens, man, and it is Sir Ridley Scott, and he's a fantastic filmmaker. And I wouldn't mind if he handed off the reins again, as long as he did it the same way that the Star Wars franchise is doing it. If he handed off the reins and executive produced some of the new Alien movies, I think this thing could go on for a long, long time. I don't think that the stories are done being told. Haven't seen the latest movie, but it's on my list. I'm going to go see it.
If he had saw it, maybe he would side with me.
You know, in all honesty, I genuinely think, because sometimes on CinemaWAR we have to argue a side that we don't necessarily agree with, but this week I have some serious passion. I think that there are some real messages within the Alien story that are worth exploring. Like I'm really excited to find out, you know, this tale about creation and like the engineers and David and all the stuff I just said. Like I meant it. It's interesting and it's a good story.
It's interesting to me that he didn't follow up Prometheus with more of that same storyline. So that was a surprise to me because Prometheus.
Oh, it's in there.
Is it? Okay.
Yes.
So Prometheus is not my favorite Aliens movie by any means, but it was interesting. It got me going again. I said, you know what? I'm going to watch the next couple of these. So I was surprised that he kind of made a left turn there. But I'm in it, man. It's no Fast and the Furious, but, you know. I'm kidding. I do love me some Fast and the Furious.
Matt, that earns you some jaw time to rant and rave on whatever you want. What do you got, buddy?
John, you're gonna hate me. Listen, fish tank guys, come on.
We talked about that.
all
Come
right,
on,
all right,
use it for
fine.
something
I took
else.
your side, man. Come on.
Oh, all right. Then I don't know. Like
Go ahead. Do it.
fish tank.
It's okay.
It's the stupid balloon, the goddamn balloon.
Ah.
You're gonna defend this thing until the end of time, and it was a poor choice. It was a poor choice, and there are a lot
We've
of poor
discussed
choices.
it. We've already said our dues.
The lighting. We didn't talk about the lighting. You were
time.
defending the lighting when we were on break here. The lighting
Yes.
sucked. It
All right.
sucked.
That's fine. All right, keep going. That wasted time.
I like
no
the
more.
lighting.
I did too.
You liked it? Really?
Yeah.
I teach cinematography. Yeah, I liked it.
I did too.
That's true. You're definitely more qualified than me to comment on the lighting.
No,
but I just didn't like it.
You guys are way qualified to say what you like and you don't like.
Right,
You
and
guys watch a ton of movies.
and here
I'm
was-
just saying.
Here was the
I
thing.
liked it.
My point on the lighting was while we were at break and.
Are we cutting
refreshments-
into his rant?
No, this
it's
is
done.
good. This is
That's
fine.
done.
Okay,
It's
all
done.
right.
Was
wanna
because
make
I was
sure.
talking about how creative Andrea Arnold was. She obviously wanted to have some really good lighting in that key moment between Michael Fassbender and Mia, and it had this like morning light coming through the windows with the curtains. For as like real and gritty of a film you could get, that was about the best solution you could have to have this sort of quote unquote romantic / neat lighting in a
Wasn't
room that
that
wasn't supposed
romantic to
I don't
me.
want to say romantic. That might have been a bad word to use, but a way where the lighting for sure there caught everybody's eye. It did mine anyways. It was a little bit more special than
Or-
anything else that took place in
Or
the film.
it was just actually shot in a tenement
No,
when
no,
the
no,
sun
no.
was happening to come up and shine
was-
through the windows, just like this stupid fucking
no,
balloon.
No, this was clearly well done filmmaking.
I think it was. I think it was a choice. I think it was a choice that they did it that way, and it's really hard to light stuff where it's to light a scene where theoretically it's pitch black. And I tell my students this: you have to light it, and you can always kind of back off and post. Yeah, I don't know. I liked it. I thought that tenement was really interesting. I don't know about you guys, but to be up in a building, but then still have 2 floors, it was kind of like a townhouse in the sky. It was kind of a strange space to have a movie. And we were always getting light in through the windows, kind of like, again, kind of like a fish tank, right? The light's coming in from the outside, and they're kind of all trapped in there on top of each other, I don't know. It was interesting. I can see why you didn't like the lighting, because there are times where it's really dark.
because he's an
and
ass bag.
It's a little frustrating.
It was very dark.
I think it was very dark at times, and I think that can be a little frustrating for a lot of people. And I don't know. I thought it was bold. It was bold, and some people are going to dislike things when they're bold, and other people are going to like them. I think that's totally, both sides are fair completely. That 4:3 aspect ratio. I can't remember a movie that's done that since Gus Van Sant's Elephant. I thought that was really interesting.
And funny, I mentioned
the square,
going-
more square.
I mentioned going to the Chicago Film Critics Festival to see A Ghost Story, also shot in that aspect ratio. So we got that to
Interesting.
look forward to. And we will review that on the show. It just doesn't come out for a while, so we'll have a full review later.
I wonder if they were commenting on the whole social media thing by using that aspect ratio, because she
Maybe.
is sort of addicted to,
I don't
no,
know.
addicted to, but she's on social media a bit.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
She uses her phone quite a bit.
But the movie didn't have anything necessarily to say about social media.
Yeah, I don't know. It almost it might have been like a throwback to early reality television, which it seems like they were watching on TV, or more like the shape of a fish tank. I don't know. It's a throwback. It makes the film feel older than it is when we watch it, and I don't know why she did it, but I didn't dislike it. Sometimes you want that wide aspect ratio where you really see a lot, but they're in this, maybe it's the tenement, right? They're in this cramped tenement, which is much more vertical, or much more vertical than it is horizontal. And so maybe that was playing to that. I don't know.
That did enhance the claustrophobia.
Right. Maybe that was it. I think she's very smart, and I can see people not liking her. For instance, I started to watch the movie and my wife was in the room. She was like, "No, I'm not going to watch this." She just was like, "This is not the kind of movie I want to watch. It's not,
I think that's probably the camp I'm in, and I'm by no means commenting on the filmmaker at large because I recognize her talent. Just didn't care for this particular film.
Sure.
Yeah. All right. Whew. Still going on about fish tank.
Sorry.
It's a good movie when you
It
can have
is.
these kind of debates.
I totally agree.
A good choice.
I agree.
Sure,
We
sure.
needed this.
I
This
agree
was
with
good.
that. Yeah.
Felt good. All right. Brings us to trivia. Let's wrap this thing up here. Wonder Woman trivia. Think of titles with either wonder or woman. Okay?
Okay.
That's your clue.
All right.
John, you're our guest. You get to choose if you want to go first or let Matt go first. There are steals, and if you get hung up on a question, our engineer this week, Phil, has clues to all the questions. You get one fill me in, Phil.
Oh, all right. I'm going to let Matt go first. I'm looking for the steal here, Matt.
He defers over to Matt K. Wonder Woman movie trivia.
All right.
Question 1 over to Matt, and boy, John's kicking himself right now. Already he's kicking himself that he deferred. Question 1, Matt. Richard Gere and Julia Roberts made this classic romantic comedy back in 1990.
Pretty Woman.
1-0.
That's easy.
Question 2.
Boo.
They start off easy. Question 2 over to John. It is a tradition by some to watch this 1946 Jimmy Stewart classic every holiday season. Name it.
It's a Wonderful Life.
Get the easy ones going off the board.
Sure.
1-1. Here we go. Now it is a ball game. Question 3 to Matt K. This 2003 film, Wonderland, starred Lisa Kudrow, Kate Bosworth, and this actor who played legendary porn star John Holmes in the film. Name him. Wonderland.
Oh, Wonderland. I was about to say somebody else who's in another movie with the word wonder in it, and I was getting the two mixed up.
Yeah, this is about the porn star who I know you know his body of work, John Holmes.
I sure do know his body of work. John Holmes. Who played John Holmes? Dude, I mean, was it Michael Fassbender? I'm just taking a stab.
That is incorrect.
I know he's got the let's just say he's got the acting chops to pull a role like that off.
This is terrible. All right, John, you have a chance for a steal here.
Can I lose a point if I get it wrong?
No.
No.
Yeah, you
All
just,
right.
you can take a guess.
All right. I don't know why this is sticking in, but I'm going to say Val Kilmer.
Really? Wow.
He nailed it.
Huh.
Val
Wow.
Kilmer, yes.
All right. I don't even know that I saw that movie, but
I watched
2000
it.
what?
It was came out in 2003.
he
So
was
he
kind
was
of
already
on,
fat
He
at
was
that
on
point.
his way down.
Yeah.
No, he wasn't fat yet. but
He wasn't the super fat, yeah, but it was the older John Holmes character in the movie also. So it's good. It's all about this crime. It's a true story. It's really neat.
Have you guys seen his Twitter feed?
Val Kilmer
Or
or
Instagram?
John Holmes?
No, Val Kilmer.
Yeah, John Holmes has left us, but no, I haven't. Why?
Val Kilmer's it's hilarious. I can't remember if it's Twitter or Instagram, but he's got these photos up there. He does just the weirdest shit, and he's very active. So check it out. It's worth
Nice.
checking out. Val Kilmer's the real Val Kilmer. I don't know what his Twitter feed is, but
Yeah, we'll
check
look
it
that
out.
up. All right. Question 4 now swings back over to John, and he's winning 2-1. So he could take a huge lead here with that steal. Question 4 to you, John. In A Scent of a Woman, name the actor who played Charlie, the young college student who looks after Al Pacino's character in the film.
Damn it! What's his name? Robin.
Everybody remembers Robin. Don't give any clues to Matt because you don't know.
He's a hack. All right, Phil, hook me up, man. I need a
Whoa,
hint.
fill me in, Phil. Question number 4. Who was that young college student in Scent of a Woman?
Your clue is, it's not Rosie,
Chris O'Donnell.
Wow, good clue, Phil.
That
That
was
was
a
a
good
solid clue. Yeah, I like that.
And then he went on to be Robin.
And he went into Robin.
So it is.
Hack.
This is big. It is now 3-1. John, he's got a nice cushion of a lead. Question 5 over to Matt K. Matt, name the 2012 Daniel Radcliffe horror film that sees him examining a haunted house. It was one of the first non-Potter roles for the actor.
The Woman in Black.
Keeps it a ball game here. 3-2. Well done. Question 6 now back over to John. Name the film that came out in the year 2000 and starred Michael Douglas, Tobey Maguire, Robert Downey Jr., and Frances McDormand. It was about a college professor and a young author.
Wonder Boys.
That is the one I was thinking of before.
Wonder Boys.
Yeah.
If you have not seen Wonder Boys,
It's great.
it's wonderful. And
It really is.
that is not a pun. It's a great movie. Check that one out. Now it is 4-2. Matt, you need this one here. Question 7 is over to you. Name the 2012 film written and directed by Terrence Malick that starred Ben Affleck, Rachel McAdams, and Javier Bardem.
2000 what?
12. Not that long ago. 2012 film.
Oh, I got it. Tree of Life. Wait a second. No, that doesn't have Wonder or...
Wait a minute. Do we
Hold
get
on.
do-overs here?
Hold on.
All right. Can I got to go to the ER on this one. Oh, I'm sorry. Fill me in, Phil.
Fill him in, Phil. What was the name of that 2012 Terrence Malick
Will you allow it,
film?
John? I know I blurted out a guess, but...
I guess.
Your clue is, this clue will take you to the answer.
Good luck.
Well, I know it's probably not woman. I'm guessing. Although you've been throwing out a lot of wonder questions. This clue will take you to the... Can you say the clue again? The clues are probably misleading me.
This clue will take you to the answer. To the
Yeah, I got nothing.
answer.
Oh,
Phil makes it so easy because he's got the answer.
Yeah,
sitting
because he
right
knows
in
it.
where's the Jeopardy music?
man.
4-2, John. This could end it if he doesn't get this correct. You don't know how much this is distracting, Matt.
I have no idea.
No guess?
Bum, 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 bum.
Wonder World.
That is incorrect. The ball game is over. John, do you know this one?
To the Wonder?
I should have just said to the wonder.
Right.
Jesus.
He was basically saying to the answer.
And I said it. I know it's not woman.
I didn't know the movie
Wow.
either.
5-2, John. It is a slaughter at this point. And John, the last question of the game is to you. Name the 1994 film that starred Andy Garcia, Meg Ryan, and Ellen Bernstein, who was about an airline pilot and his alcoholic wife. Andy Garcia, Meg Ryan, 1994.
I remember this movie because this is when Meg Ryan went fully nude. And it was a
Ooh.
big deal. And people were bent out of shape about this.
I don't remember that. We'd have to call up Mr. Skin, who's
I'm-
been a
I'm
past
I'm
guest.
positive we talked about this exact movie with Mr. Skin.
Have we?
Yes.
I don't know who Mr. Skin is.
Oh, wow.
I remember it
He's
was
been a
it
guest
was
on
a
our show.
dark movie, and it's not Andy Garcia who's the alcoholic. It's Meg Ryan who's
Right.
the alcoholic. Yeah,
Right.
I remember seeing the movie. I'm gonna hand this over to Matt because he can't win anyways, but maybe he can get this question right.
Matt, you got
I
a
got
guess?
nothing.
Is this? No, I really don't know. I don't know.
A
When
good
a
woman.
man loves a woman,
When a man loves a woman. Yeah.
as Michael Bolton famously sang.
I celebrate his entire catalog.
Please don't.
Well, John wins this one, 5-2. Can I get a gentleman's handshake
yes,
here?
yes.
There's
Good
only-
game.
There was no doubt.
Matt,
that-
as far as I'm concerned, there's only one other gentleman in the room. It's John.
Well, he's
Well, sorry, Phil also. There's two other. Phil also.
Jesus, Bry, come on. So mean to me.
Hey, if it came down to a tiebreaker, we call it a jawbreaker. This question actually would have been to Matt K.
Okay.
Who wins in a street fight, DC's Wonder Woman or Marvel's Black Widow?
Neither. It's actually the Hulk.
Absolutely Wonder Woman.
Absolutely
she
is
destroys
correct.
Black Widow.
Yeah.
No,
Not
I mean,
even a contest.
But
30
Black
seconds.
Widow is
30 seconds.
way cooler than Wonder Woman, in my opinion. But Wonder Woman's more inspiring, and she's an Amazon, and she's gonna destroy Black Widow.
Yeah, I didn't even consider the male-female thing there. I should have said She-Hulk, but you're absolutely right. Wonder Woman.
What a jackass. Oh, man, this is a new low point for Matt. All right,
It
the
is,
real
it
jawbreaker was this. Age of Frances McDormand. Closest to. John, you got a guess?
64.
Lock him in at 64. What do you got, Matt?
I think she's a little younger than that. So Fargo came out in the late 90s, and I would say she was probably in her early 40s then. Maybe like 43, 44. Because she was pregnant in the film. So she couldn't have been... I would say she's 56.
I'm so confused.
Your math is so weird. But who won?
No, so I mean
Oh,
that's only. Oh God!
Hey.
Wow, no, I guess that is
You
longer.
just
I
said
love
she was
how it
like
is,
44 20 years ago.
Wow.
I threw you off your game,
No,
man.
she's
I'm
not.
sorry.
She's not in her 60s yet. I'm saying she's still in her late 50s.
56, he
Yes.
said. We'd give that to Matt. She's 59.
Oh, sorry, Francis.
She's going to be 60,
She's great.
60 June 23rd. So
See, my math was wrong, but I was. I
your
had the
inst-
right age.
Your instinct was absolutely on, man.
Yes, yes.
And you know what? If she was here, I would have guessed like 45. I would have started low.
nice. Gentleman thing to do, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, man. Brings us to the end of a great job. This was a fun one.
This is great.
I had a really good time. It's always fun to see John Otterbacher. I run into him numerous times around and about at these events, but to have him back on Cinemajaw, always a great time.
It's
Thanks,
a
John.
treat. It's a treat. You're going to be there next week at Cuff, right?
Absolutely.
Okay,
I'll see
great.
you guys at Cuff. And yeah, thanks for having me on. This is always fun. I don't get to nerd out that often. You know, I've gotta be like an upstanding, film professor-y dude. So I get to come on here and nerd out, and I love it. So yeah, thanks,
You are
guys.
welcome to come and nerd out with us anytime, sir.
Oh, I love it. I need the escape.
Good times. We also got to thank all our sponsors.
Thanks to all the sponsors and the Chicago Podcast Co-op who help us get those sponsors.
We also got to thank our editor each and every week, and this week, our engineer, Fill Me In Phil.
Yes, thank you, Jawheads. This week I actually do have something to plug. Since this will be coming out on a Monday, you will be in time for the first release of my webcomic, 20-something Angst. Just go to 20-something Angst on Tumblr. It is the number, not the word.
Nice.
Wow.
Perfect. Hey, Phil.
It seems like no matter what, anybody who's in the jaw box, they got something to plug.
It's great.
Yeah,
They're trying to plug holes because I throw the jaw box in the...
I got to get a look
Lake.
at what the hell's
It
going
does
on in
not
that jaw
smell
box. Unbelievable. As we had mentioned, we are on Patreon. We're also on Instagram. You can follow us there.
Yeah, we're at Cinemajaw everywhere, guys. Just search Cinemajaw wherever you are.
Yeah, do it. And thanks for all the support. Until next week, I'm Ryan the Movie Guy.
I'm Matt Kay, and
And
keep on jawing about the movies.